am the Executive Director for Orientation and Student Onboarding, and I am so grateful to be here with you. For us in the Massachusetts area, it's about 6 p.m. Eastern Time, but we recognize that folks may be joining us from all across the globe. So thank you for spending a little bit of time with us today. We are recording this session so that way you're able to access this at a later time if needed. And for those who are unable to join us live, they'll have this resource moving forward. Before we get started with today's content, I wanted to invite my colleagues to introduce themselves, and then we'll give you a little bit of context around what a Falcon Live Chat is, and then we'll get started with today's topic. So Caroline, you want to start?
Hey everyone, my name is Caroline Horn. I'm the Associate Director for Orientation and Student Onboarding here at Bentley. And we're so excited to welcome you all to the Bentley community. And I'll hand it over to Kenny.
Hi everyone, my name is Kenny Allard. I use the he series pronouns. I am the Assistant Director of Orientation and Student Onboarding here at Bentley. And I am so excited to welcome you all here tonight.
Wonderful. So now that you've had the chance to quickly meet our team, we are the staff who you have been hearing from or will continue to hear from over the next few months. We really work intentionally to provide a robust onboarding experience for you and your student. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. You've deposited, your students have been receiving weekly newsletters, you've been receiving some information from us. So what does this mean? What is the new Falcon Experience? And how can we ensure that you are getting the foundation that you need and that your student needs to be successful? So this is one of many Falcon Live Chats that we will be offering over this summer. And essentially what these are is an opportunity for us to bring a little bit of Bentley to you. So there are a variety of topics. Today, we're going to talk about the onboarding experience. Yesterday, we spoke a little bit about academic services. We have one coming up about living on campus, having a healthy Falcon, financial services. So there are a lot of different topics. And if you can join us live, wonderful. That gives you the ability to ask some of these questions that you may have with the staff directly here. But if you can't, no worries. We record all of these sessions and we post them to our YouTube channel. And then that gives you the opportunity to just view them at your convenience, at your leisure. We recognize for families who are joining us from the United States right now, if your student is in high school, that they have either probably just graduated or are getting ready to graduate. So we recognize that this is an incredibly busy time. So we want to just acknowledge that and appreciation of you jumping on here and chatting with us a little bit. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started with our content. So the new Falcon Experience. As I mentioned, this is our undergraduate onboarding process. And so what that means is there is a little bit of tasks. There are some tasks that your students will complete. There's a lot of knowledge and resource sharing. There's also some opportunity for your students to register for their courses, which we know is something that they are really eager to do. There's an opportunity for them to engage with their fellow Falcons, to start to feel a little bit more comfortable as they're preparing for their time at Bentley. And this is all kind of a layered process. So we want to acknowledge that, again, for your students who are either still in classes, if they're transferring from another institution, maybe they're working right now, maybe they're just getting ready to graduate. We know that it's busy. So we want to try to start to layer on a little bit of information and continue to increase that as we get closer to the start of the semester. So a few of the resources that you and your students may have already seen are our new student checklist, our new Falcon Experience website, Bentley Beginnings, which is our online orientation program, which we'll speak a little bit more about. Shortly, your students will gain access to some course registration prep videos, and you as family members are also able to access this content if you want to review it so that you are even more knowledgeable about this process. Your students also have the opportunity to engage in our new Falcon networking and social media engagement. These are some wonderful ways to get them starting to connect with fellow peers. They don't need to wait until they are physically on our campus to start making those connections. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our family resources and those live chats, as I mentioned. And then we'll give some quick insight to fall orientation, because we know that that's something that folks will ask a lot of questions about. When is orientation? When can my student expect to be on campus? So we'll share some of those details with you as well. Before we dive into the details, we do want to just quickly share our goals. And we think this is important because this really helps to guide a lot of the resources and the events and the opportunities that you and your students will see. And so first and foremost, we really want to make sure that our students are understanding the Bentley community. And whether this is their first collegiate experience, whether this is another institution that they're transferring in from, whether they've gone to boarding school or a traditional high school or whatever the experience may have been leading up to this time, we want your students and you to know, what is the Bentley community? What is the college experience? We also want to center the work that we do and our values and ensure that our students start to understand, what are their rights and responsibilities as community members? What does this look like? For a lot of times, this might be the first time that students are away from home or away from whatever home might be for them. Of course, we want to ensure that our students are feeling prepared for academics and introducing them to the academic community and resources. That is one of the main reasons that they're here at Bentley. But in addition to that, we want to ensure that they're feeling connected and that they can engage in all that Bentley has to offer. So social, educational, cultural, well-being experiences, these all help to really round out this holistic opportunity for our students who are in the community. And last but certainly not least, we want to introduce our new community members to our traditions. Bentley is over 100 years old, and there's some really neat ways that we have grown as a community, and our students have helped to drive a lot of that. And so we really want to make sure that we are sharing with them how they can really help to maximize that. And before we move on, I do want to share for our family members, we really view this as a partnership. We know that your students have been with you for much longer than they have been with us or the Bentley community. And we honor that and respect that. And so when we offer sessions like this Falcon live chat or some of the other resources throughout the summer, we really do that because we want to arm you with information and knowledge to help to be ambassadors to this. They are going to hear it from us. They're going to hear it from our student leaders, from our faculty and staff. But if you can help to reiterate that message and help to really empower them to take charge of their experience here at Bentley, that's only going to help us to really make this a really positive opportunity for them. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my team to start talking about some of those details that I mentioned that really help to round out the new Falcon experience.
Sure. So one piece that we have referenced already is the new student checklist. So this checklist can be found on Bentley Connect. It can be found on the new Falcon Experience website and in the quick guide. So a lot of different places where students can access this information. They can see the tasks and access them in the Bentley Connect portal. They will need to set up their Bentley email, which is necessary for the tasks. So if they have any questions, they can email helpdesk@bentley.edu with any questions that they may have about setting that email up. And then as a reminder, the Bentley Connect login is currently set as the student's personal email, how they apply to Bentley, but they do have the ability to change it to their Bentley email. So here are a few of the tasks that are listed on that checklist. So right now, students really should be setting up their Bentley email account. If they do have any difficulty, that help desk email is a really great place to start. They can also start reviewing our new Falcon website and our quick guide. There are a lot of different resources on both of those pages for students to really begin to start connecting with members of the Bentley community and learn more about what is available on campus. In June, there are a few different items that students will have to complete. So our online orientation program, which really gives students a glimpse inside of these different resources, their critical reading and writing essay, their math selection survey, both of those pieces will come into play during course registration. So it is really important that students do complete those two tasks. Submitting their housing and meal plan contract and application. So that email went out last week. So students can complete that if they want to live on campus. They can also submit their immunization and health records. This is a task that students may need your help with. So being part of that conversation as well to make sure they are completing it on time, and then completing any workday onboarding tasks that may pop up on workday. In July, if they are taking advanced standing classes in high school or they have any transfer credits, making sure they are submitting that information, reviewing those new student advising and registration websites, as well as the videos shared. They will have the ability to register for their fall courses. They will get presented with their student bill in July, and they will submit a photo for their Falcon card. In August, students will pay their student bill. They will enroll and waive their health insurance. There will be a few different self-guided learning courses, which we'll share a few more information on later on in the presentation. If students are living on campus, they will move into their residence hall, and then they will be able to participate in orientation and various pre-orientation programs if they want to. And then classes begin on September 3rd.
Awesome. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Bentley Beginnings, which is our online program that's really meant to introduce new students to Bentley. So, like I said, this program really provides so much information for students to prepare their journey when they arrive at Bentley, and even before. And it covers content about academic life, student life, well-being, and our core values as an institution, and really how to maximize the students' time while they're at Bentley. So what's really great is family members are able to review this program by creating a guest account, by emailing orientation@bentley.edu. So what's really great about our online orientation program is that you're able to personally keep track of all the new Falcon tasks that Caroline just mentioned. And this is supposed to be completed by June 28th. So you have a little less than a month now to complete this. And our new student registration. So it is important that students complete the writing essay and math selection survey by June 10th. So just 5 days away. So you can receive proper placement prior to course registration. Additionally, if you have advanced standing credits or transfer credits, that those should be submitted by July 15th at the latest. What's really great is that there's pre-registration videos provided to students with academic overview to help prepare for course registration, as this may be a new platform for folks, and it can be a little confusing and overwhelming if this is your first time using a pre-registration or a registration content form. So we have those videos for you. And we also have important dates for new student registration. Virtually, first-year students will be July 31st, and transfer students will be July 29th. And then also during orientation on August 30th, which will be on campus, we'll have on-site registration support for any updates that students may need to make to their schedule. So really trying to give folks as much need and attention to registering for courses as possible.
All right. So there are a few different ways that students can begin to connect with our Bentley community throughout this summer. One being our social media account, which is at Welcome Falcons. So as a family member, as a support system for our new students, you are also able to follow this account. We do share a lot of different information on it, We have Baby Falc Fridays, which are basically the student version of these Falcon live chats. We have Tech Tip Tuesdays, where we share different information about different tech resources on campus. Where Are We Wednesdays, where we're able to highlight where students are all across the globe, really, for all of our new students. And then we also have Tasty Thursday, where we're able to highlight some of our dining options on campus, as long as also on off-campus dining options. Students have already begun to receive our weekly New Falcon news that are sent to all of our new students on Tuesdays. And that has information on various upcoming checklist tasks. It will have information on Bentley traditions and different campus resources. So a really important resource for students to make sure that they are reading each week. Our New Falcon Networking series is an event series taking place throughout the summer where students are able to network with fellow Falcons. They can ask questions, they can win different Bentley prizes. We'll share information about all of the virtual events through Instagram and Facebook, and also on our New Falcon Experience app that is available now for all of our new students. So they can go on there, find Bentley resources, connect with their peers, connect with our orientation team. So really a lot of great opportunities through all of these different social media and newsletters.
Wonderful. So, what do we have for our families? Well, Caroline mentioned those New Falcon newsletters. And just so that folks are aware, those are available on our New Falcon Experience website. So if you go to bentley.edu/New Falcon Experience and you are curious what your students are receiving, you are able to view those resources as well. So please do take advantage of that if you want to be looped into that. We will also send newsletters to our family members. So some of that content will mirror what we send to students, but a lot of times it will also reference, what are some tips, what are some topics that maybe you can start engaging with your student to help to prepare them for their start in the fall. It will also give some insider information, again, some ways to really help to encourage them and support them as they're taking these next steps. As I mentioned, the New Falcon Experience website is really robust. And so there's information on the overall onboarding experience. There's also different sub pages that will dig into more details around living on campus or academics. There's even a sub page specifically for family resources, which not only highlights the opportunities throughout this summer, but also how can you continue to stay connected and engaged at Bentley through different programs and volunteer opportunities as well. As Kenny mentioned, we do have our online orientation. And so if you are interested in that, you can access the online orientation by going to that New Falcon Experience website. You can just click it and go ahead and create that guest account. It will show you the same exact content that your student has. So again, a really great opportunity to start to get to know those Bentley pieces. We also have a standalone video series, which is on our orientation website. So if you go to bentley.edu/orientation, you'll be able to find that information there. And again, that's linked on that New Falcon Experience website. And that provides a really great overview of student life and student support resources that your student will probably be using pretty regularly, or you may hear them speaking about them. So again, a really great opportunity to kind of, at your own pace, start to digest some of that information. You'll really see that happening. We started in May. You'll see this continuing through June. Once we get into July, you'll continue to see this Falcon Live Chat series. We have one almost weekly as we get into some of the holidays or breaks throughout the summer. We will have a pause just to ensure that we can get the most people possible at those events. We'll continue with our newsletter series throughout the summer. And then the last few pieces we really wanted to highlight just to kind of get on people's radar. So we do have a few pre-orientation programs, and these are programs that students would apply for. So the first one is our Mosaic Experience program, and that is for our students of color and their allies. That starts on August 26th. So if students are interested, In our next newsletter, or actually this past newsletter, we put a link in there so that students can register or apply for the Mosaic Experience if that's something that they're interested in. That is a 3-day program. It really focuses on some identity building and awareness, and is a really great opportunity for students if they want to be a part of that. The Multicultural Center is the team that coordinates that program. And even if your student doesn't choose to engage in the Mosaic Experience, there are many other ways for them to continue to be connected with the Multicultural Center. We have a peer-to-peer mentoring programming. There's weekly programming from folks. So there's a lot of other opportunities if your student isn't able or may not be interested in the Mosaic Experience. We also have a defined community leadership program. So if your student is interested in any of our defined communities, which are living communities, living and learning communities on our campus, there's a variety of topics. They've received information about that in their email from the residential center. And there's more information on our website, so feel free to take a look at that. But they would apply to be a part of that community. And if they were accepted, then they would arrive on that Tuesday, August 27th. They would participate in some leadership building and community building with those individual communities, along with any faculty or staff advisors who are a part of that program as well. If your student is an international student, then they would be arriving on August 27th. And that first day, there will be a welcome reception for students and families. So if you are traveling with your student and you are interested in participating in that, you are invited and welcome to do so. And similarly, I just want to mention with the Mosaic Experience, if your student is a part of that, there is some family programming on that first day, the 26th. And if your student is going to be in the defined communities, there is a welcome reception that happens on the 27th. If your student is not participating in any of those pre-orientation programs, or they are not a fall season athlete, then they will be arriving on the 29th, which is our larger move-in day for our students. And this is where students will have a designated move-in time. And once your student is moved in, we invite you to participate in our community lunch. And we also have a vendor fair, and then our Falcon Walk and convocation ceremony happens on that day. So if you find yourself able to join your student on that day or in the area at that time, please do take some time to join us. We typically will also stream the convocation ceremony. So if you're unable to join, you would be able to watch that, and we record it. So if you can't watch it live, you can watch that recording. And then there is a family reception following convocation, again, for those who are in the area to join in, hosted by our Office of Alumni and Family Engagement. And then the last two pieces I want to direct your attention to: in mid-September, following the new student orientation program, we will host a virtual workshop for our family members. We'll give you some quick information about what your student experienced through orientation, but then we really focus on, okay, your students are here, now what? What is the support that they're going to receive from student affairs? What is the type of work and support that they're going to receive in and out of the classroom? So really just giving you some of that information and knowledge. So again, as your students start thinking about maybe starting to use some of these resources, providing you with some of that context. And then if you are able to travel back out to Waltham, Massachusetts, we invite you to join us for our Falcon Weekend, which takes place September 27th to 29th. There are typically also some remote events that will happen. So again, if you're unable to travel out this way, there are some hybrid events that will happen. So please be on the lookout for that. Save the dates have been sent for that, and registration should be available starting in July. Our next few Falcon Live chats, just to give a quick plug for that, you can register just by going to that new Falcon Experience website. There's a link right there. There's also a direct link to our YouTube channel. So if you missed one and you want to see it, you can go ahead and click that there. Coming up next, we have Living at Bentley. This is hosted with our residential center staff. And so this has typically been really helpful for our families to understand what are the housing options. What can my student anticipate? What is a meal plan at Bentley? what is a resident assistant that lives in the halls and what does that mean and look like? How do you keep my students safe? So a really robust session from our residential center staff. We will then have a live chat on student financial services. And this is really helpful because as students are getting ready for the bill presentment in July, they're probably going to be asking you some questions. And so we want to make sure that you have that information and knowledge. A lot of the times, the questions that we will get from families are, how do I see my student's bill? Especially if you might be helping them to pay for that. There is a process called third-party access. And if you go to our new Falcon Experience website, there is a link that will bring you to those instructions. So that way your student can set that up for you if that's something that you're interested in doing. We'll then have a session with our Centers for Health, Wellness, and Counseling. And then we will have a session with technology. There's a lot of different technological resources here at Bentley. If folks have questions about wanting to purchase a laptop through a Bentley vendor, again, that's a great resource. We also have that information on our website. Long story short, these are really great and really helpful opportunities to hear from Bentley. And if you can't view live, no worries. As I mentioned, they are available on our YouTube channel.
Awesome, thank you. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the new Falcon arrival and orientation. So we are so excited to welcome your students onto campus. For some, it may be their first time. So in August, we'll have some self-guided learning courses available. So these self-guided learning courses are on diversity, equity, inclusion, alcohol, EDU, and our sexual assault prevention course. So there'll be more information out late July, and these will be due on August 26th. So really important courses that your students will need to complete. And as BL mentioned, for the next couple of bullets, we have Meet Your Orientation Group and Your Leader, which will be on Sunday, August 25th, which is just a really exciting way for your students to start making connections pre-arrival, meet their group and meet their orientation leader, who they're going to be spending a ton of time with during our orientation program. Our international student welcome and orientation will be taking place on August 27th. And our new student orientation will begin on August 29th and will conclude on September 2nd. So if you need to, take a little screenshot of this slide just for folks to remember. But we are so excited to welcome you all onto campus and to meet your students and the family members on this call.
Wonderful. So we know that was a lot of content. And so what we want to do now is pause so that we can answer any questions. I know that we have a few that started populating already, but if folks have other questions, please feel free to add those using the Q&A button on your screen. And before we get to that, I also want to just give a quick plug for other ways that you can continue to ask questions throughout the summer. And so we have a new Falcon question form, and this is something that students and family members can submit to ask questions. And so for Bentley students, we do ask that they use their Bentley email and password. That just helps us to ensure that we're connecting with the appropriate person and we're getting them the resources and information that they need. For family members, when you submit that form, and again, you can access that just by going to our new Falcon Experience website. You can click that button and it will take you directly to that form. It's going to give you a few options. If you know what topic you're asking questions about, you can go ahead and write it in that topic. So some of those options are academics or technology, living on campus, new student checklist, financial services. If you don't know where it should go, you can just write it in the other category, and then we will jump on and we will help you to navigate. Either if we can answer the question for you, we will, or we will connect you with a community member who will be able to assist you with that. So it's a really useful tool so that you're not having to search and find what office should I call or who should I reach out to? What does this mean? This tool allows you to submit your questions and then we do all that back end work for you. So please know that that is an option for you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that way you can see us presenters, and we'll go ahead and get started with some of those questions that you have. And Caroline just posted the website for New Falcon Experience that I keep referencing, so please feel free to access that, and a few other resources that folks were asking about. All right. So one of the questions is asking about, I think it's about financial aid. And so what I would say is if it is something that's a little bit more general, you can definitely wait for when we have that student financial services Falcon Live chat and connect with staff then. If it is something that you need more immediate assistance with, if your student logs into their Bentley Connect portal, they will see that they have a new student checklist tab and a student financial aid tab. If they click on that student financial aid tab, that's going to give them the name and contact information for their financial aid counselor. And then they'll be able to connect directly with that financial aid counselor so that you can go ahead and get that information. The other thing is if you have a more general question, you can also use that new Falcon question form that I mentioned before and click and just write that question right in Student Financial Services, and that will go directly to our team in Student Financial Services. For the health insurance, so for our international students, you would still need to enroll in health insurance. So it doesn't just automatically enroll you, you would still need to go ahead and sign up for that. Students should have received an email this week about health insurance. But there is also some really great details on our New Falcon Experience website. If you click on the Getting Started section within the website, it will bring up information about the university health insurance plan. It also talks a little bit about tuition insurance, if that's something that you're interested in as well. It's not required. The tuition insurance is not required, but it is something that some folks do choose to take advantage of. And there was a question about if the slides and this information will be available at a later date. And yes, we are recording it, so you'll be able to view this entire presentation on our YouTube channel. It typically takes about a day for us to upload it, just so that way it is saved and we put it up there. So by end of day tomorrow, you'll be able to find it on our YouTube channel. Any other questions that folks have that we might be able to answer for you tonight? Penny or Caroline, I'm going to put you on the spot. Any tips or advice that you would give to our families as they're preparing for their students to start here at Bentley?
I think take advantage of all these different live chats. We will have student leaders on some of them throughout the summer too, to really give you the student perspective of starting at Bentley, being part of the Bentley community. So I think when they are on, they give a lot of really good tips of how maybe they did feel homesick, but then they found a community on campus that they felt really good at. So I think really participating in these live chats, connecting with us through social media and some of those other opportunities, and then staying connected once your students start too is important.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I also would say follow our Instagram at Welcome Falcons. We are constantly, like Caroline mentioned in the slides, we're constantly posting different tips and tricks. So just a great opportunity for families and students to get acquainted with our office and everything we have going on.
Yeah, and the last thing that I'll put out there is please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We really care about your students and ensuring that they have a positive start here at Bentley and making sure that they can feel like they have what they need to really hit the ground running. And so if you have questions there, don't hesitate to reach out. I promise you, if you have that question, another family member does. And if it's going to help you to feel more included or knowledgeable or secure in what your student is asking you, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are always happy to connect with family members and students to know that you have that we have your back, and we want to make sure that you can be successful here. And there are a lot of resources and opportunities. So if your student ever says there's nothing going on, they're lying. There's always something going on. And we really want to make sure that your student can find their connections and their belonging here at Bentley. So thank you so much for taking time with us today to learn a little bit about this onboarding experience. If you have other questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. And if you're able to travel with your student to campus in the fall, we look forward to meeting you there. And thank you so much. Take care.